All right, guys, I am here in the studio today. I'm going to do a brief overview of probably two of the hottest arrows out right now. I've certainly filled in more questions about these two arrows than any others in a long time. I think that's probably due to kind of this swing that's happening right now in archery. So for a long time, it felt like people were really chasing high arrow weight, high FOC. It seems like now, and it might just be me, but it seems like there's more talk about gaining some feet per second, guys shooting a lighter weight setup, whether that's for an event like TAC, where you're shooting extended yardages, or whether you plan to go hunting with them. It just seems like guys are kind of chasing that feet per second, and they're wanting to get more velocity out of their arrows. So these two arrows definitely fit the bill. These are brand new this year from Easton and Victory. I'm going to do a little overview of both arrows and just kind of run you through kind of the features and the weights and why I think you guys might want to consider some of these arrows. So first and foremost, I have the Easton 5.0. This is a 5mm arrow, so it's a .204 diameter. This arrow is a lightweight version of the Axis. So the Axis has been a staple for Easton for a long time. Essentially what they did is they lightened up that arrow. They were able to maintain the tolerances of this arrow, but they were actually able to lighten this thing up quite a bit. So like I said, 5mm arrow, lightweight, micro diameter. It's not as small as that 4mm, but this should still buck the wind really, really well. It's kind of a nice mix between that .166 4mm and then your larger .246, like the 6.5 diameters. Typically your .204, your 5mm arrows, you have better component options and you can add aftermarket components, talking your inserts. I actually think the inserts that these come with are a major upgrade from what they've provided in years past. So I'll run you through those here in a second. I guess I would run you first through the weights. So the Easton 5.0, you're going to be 10.6 grains per inch on a 200 spine. You're going to be 9.5 for a 250. 300 spine, 8.4, and then a 340 is a 7.5. They also make a 400 spine, a 500 spine. I'm not going to touch on those just because those are not really in the wheelhouse for what most people are shooting. The Victory HLR is a lighter weight version even, and I'll talk about why they were able to do even a lighter weight here in a sec. But your 200 spine is going to be 9.8 grains per inch. Your 250 is going to be 8.7. Your 300 is going to be 8.1 grains per inch, and your 350 is going to be 7.3. Now the reason I think that Victory can get a lighter weight arrow and still get the strength and the durability out of it is because of the carbon weave. So it's a tighter carbon weave. It's a 1.5 carbon weave at a 90-degree angle. So you're going to get nice strength, nice durability out of this arrow, which is why I think you can get an overall thinner wall, lighter arrow and still get the spine consistency, those lower spines out of this arrow. Super lightweight arrow. Just for fun, I kind of calculated out what I thought my finished arrow weight would be if I went with either one of these. So typically the arrows I've been shooting are going to be about 495, 492 grains, somewhere in that neighborhood. And I've been shooting a gold tip platinum pierce arrow. If I was to build either one of these out in a 250 spine, I'm going to be about 440, maybe 445 grains with the Victory HLR. The Easton 5.0, I'm going to be about 460, 462 grains totally finished. That would be with the 100 grain head and the inserts, which I'll talk about here in a sec. But essentially what that equates to is feet per second. So normally for every 10 grains that you would lose, you have a gain of about 1 to 1.5 feet per second. So potentially for me, I could gain up to 7.5 feet per second if I was to go with the Victory HLR. We're talking the Easton 5.0, that's a potential gain for me of about 4.5, 5 feet per second, which is significant. I mean, that's a pretty big deal. If you're kind of chasing the speed, you want a flatter trajectory on your arrow. I'm going to talk about components. So components, I already mentioned, I think this is a major upgrade for both of these arrows. So standard, in your Victory, you're going to get this little insert system right here. It's one piece, stainless steel, 50 grain. I love the fact that it's stainless steel. Super easy to install. All you're going to do is clean your arrow shaft, also clean up the insert, apply your glue, and just shove that in the end. And you've got a bit of an overlay here on the end of the shaft, which is going to protect the end of it. It's going to provide nice durability. The Easton version, you have your hidden insert technology, they call it. So it's that little hidden insert that basically slides down into your shaft. You're going to glue it, and then you have an over collar system that slides over the top of it. Both of these systems are going to provide really good durability and good protection to the end of the arrow. And like I said, in my opinion, I think this is a pretty major upgrade for standard components that are going to come with either one of these arrows. With that, you can buy these raw shafts. You can buy them in different straightness and tolerances. That's tolerances of grains per arrow in a dozen. The highest level is going to be your match grade. The straightness on those is going to be 0.001. The HLR is what they call their elite. That's their highest tolerance version of that arrow. Those are also going to be 0.001 in straightness. These are also spine aligned, so they actually print the label on the stiff portion of the spine, which is nice. And you can kind of see on this arrow, they come pre-fletched in this batch that I'm showing you, but you've got your cock vein aligned with that spine line, which is kind of nice. In essence, you shouldn't really have to paper tune each individual arrow. As you build it, you should be able to just fletch those up or buy them pre-fletched, as you see here. And they should paper tune as long as your bow's in tune to that arrow. The Eastons, nice fit, nice finish. One thing I should say about the Eastons, made in America, which is pretty cool, made right here in the United States, which is pretty unique in our industry, especially for the archery industry. So kind of a cool feature, if you will, of that Easton 5.0 arrow. Either one of these are going to be great options to go hunting. They might be a little too lightweight for some folks, but if you're going to 3D shoots, you're going to tack events, you really need to stretch the tape out, get the most out of your yardage on your sight before you actually run that vein into the bottom of the housing. Either one of these is going to give you great velocity. It's going to give you extended yardage. For me, I'm really interested in both of these for a hunting arrow. I don't personally feel like a 445 grain, 450 grain arrow is too light. And the thing I like about a light, fast arrow is that my pin gaps are going to be tighter. So if a bull walks out and I misjudge that yardage, there's a lot higher likelihood that I'm going to connect and actually hit that animal, even if I misjudge the yardage. The other thing that can be handy about a flat trajectory on an arrow is that you might be able to squeak under any overhanging vegetation. Flatter trajectory, if you will, it's going to kind of squeak under some of that, less arc. So there's a couple advantages. I think either one of these would make a great hunting arrow for me, and the fact that like I shoot a longer draw length. So this finished arrow in a 250 spine is still going to be in that 450 to 460 grain range. But both of these are available right now in the GOHUNT gear shop. Like I said, different options as far as straightness goes and tolerances, different options on price point, different options in spine. But both of these I think are going to be really hot ticket, good selling items for this year. I think they're going to be good options for people that are shooting tack events and then also that are going into the fields to hunt this fall. So that's kind of a quick overview. Like I said, I've had more questions about these two arrows than I've had in a bunch of different arrows in the years previous. If you guys got questions, you can drop them in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer those. I haven't actually shot any of these yet. I'm still looking forward to getting a couple dozen of each and building them out and getting a chance to play with them. So with that, I'll leave you with it. If you got any questions, like I said, drop them in the comments below.